I've sparred with Dustin and had my liver snatched out of my body, and went home went home thinking, how in the world am I ever gonna get to where I'm that good?
Welcome to the Vernon Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdon. I'm joined by Drake Pellegrin, one of my good buddies. Went to Terrible High together. Now you're out there kicking ass, bro. How's it been? And just kind of talk to me about your journey. Walk me through the last few years for you.
So the last few years have been pretty insane. I moved to Lafayette like 3.5 years ago now, with the sole purpose of becoming a professional fighter, making it to the highest level of fighting, getting to train with the best people in this area, and seeing it come to fruition has been an amazing journey.
And just kind of talk to everybody about what you do, man. I wrote a couple of notes down, bro. You do everything: pro fighter, jiu-jitsu belt, U.S. Marine, father, personal trainer, coach. How do you do all that? Like, we'll talk about just wearing all those hats, just your day-to-day routine, and really what that's like.
So a lot of it, I'm very lucky. A lot of the things that I do happen in the same building. I got lucky to where I train at Gladiators Academy. I coach at Gladiators Academy, and then Ignite Fitness and Train Unique, the gyms that I work at for personal training and then strength training, nutrition training, all that stuff are in the same location. So I get to bounce back and forth, book my personal training sessions and stuff like that around the hours that I want to train at the gym. Coach jiu-jitsu at night, and I just get to hang out at the gym all day. And it doesn't really feel like I'm doing a lot of work, even though I am, because it's all fun shit.
That's how you tell you doing what you love, bro. When you're just able to not look at the clock, hours fly by. What got you into that? Like, what was the origin story for you getting into this combat sports and this overall career path?
So I've always been interested in martial arts. I'd say the first time I like really took interest in martial arts was watching Kung Fu Panda. I loved
Really?
that. It was that changed my life. But
That's
so
fine.
I watched that movie. I was probably 4 or 5 years old whenever I watched it the first time, and I wanted my mom to put me in like karate or kickboxing, something to where I could do that. And she didn't want. Was like super against it at first. Like, I wasn't allowed to watch UFC when I was that young. I couldn't watch like WWE, nothing. Like, she didn't want me involved in any of that stuff. And then when I was like 7 years old, I finally wore her down enough to where she took me into a taekwondo gym. I did that for 7 years, um, but I had really gotten into the UFC, so I wanted to do more grappling, kickboxing, full contact. So eventually, I transitioned into jiu-jitsu and kickboxing, and fell in love with jiu-jitsu, and knew I wanted to be try to be the best in the world the day I stepped on a mat for jiu-jitsu, because I've never loved anything more.
And I feel like, yeah, talking about one of the parts you just said with convincing your mom and all, that's such a big part of all these MMA fighter stories. It's like the parents are like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want you going into that." Like, just talk to me about that whole side of things, like the recovery aspect of it. How do you balance that with the training, with all the things that you do? Like, just walk me through that type of process and how, you were able to get them on board with that.
So, my my mom, the first time I did a taekwondo tournament, which is light to no contact, like you're barely touching each other, my mom bawled her eyes out because I got kicked. So I don't understand how she watches me get in cage fights now, but she pulls through. Um, she's watched me go through it. She's watched me get in the car after jiu-jitsu practices and just cry because I got beat up so badly. She brought me to 5 a.m. classes before I went to school, in high school. And even though she hates waking up early, she would sleep in the car while I did jiu-jitsu. So she gets a ton of credit because she supported me every step of the way, even though probably with some reluctancy.
I'm glad you brought that up. Like the early morning training, that grind, it takes a lot of inspiration, right? I feel like that's a lot of the unseen things, the applause and all the celebration you get is for the highlight finishes and like getting in the
Mhm.
octagon, all the parts that everybody sees, but all the things that people don't see. Like, what inspires you and pushes you to get past the tough moments that come with that side of the journey?
So whenever I was young, like it never felt like work. Like there was days where I was frustrated with myself because I wasn't doing as well as I thought I should be, or I would get beat up and I would be frustrated. But it never felt like work. Like I would go to the gym before school every day and do open mat at 5 a.m. And then I'd go to wrestling practice after school, and then I'd go to jiu-jitsu practice after wrestling practice, and then I'd go home and I'd go to sleep. But it didn't feel like I was doing a ton of work at the time. It just felt like I was doing the things that I wanted to do. So I didn't even put it together until later on, looking back, where I was like, that's why I got good so fast. I was training 4 or 5 hours a day and not even realizing it because I was just doing the things I wanted to do and I was having fun doing.
Especially if you're doing it that often too, that early. It's like you gotta keep into perspective the amount of like competition around you, how they're not living up to that build, that grind, that routine, and like that,
Mm-hmm.
like the Mamba mentality, the Kobe Bryant work ethic, and that mindset of just every day get better. 1%, 2%, don't matter how much you get better. If you're improving, that gap is gonna widen and it's gonna keep growing and growing and growing. And I feel like I've seen that a lot. This is an interesting question. I ask everybody this one. This is my favorite one. I like to see just, inside your mind a little bit, right? We're already getting the competitive spirit out. You're talking about, what got you into it, but who do you see in your style, in your fighting style, or maybe like, who's your fighter comparison, bro? If you had to say, I fight like blank, who would it be?
I don't know that I fight exactly like anyone. I feel like I have a very unique style, and I feel like that's why I compete really well, is because my style of fighting is kind of like a one of one, where the way I do jiu-jitsu is different than a lot of people. I'm attacking in submissions where most people would be looking to get out and get back on top. You think you're in a good spot and all of a sudden you're in a submission. So I feel like that stop part of my game really catches a lot of people off guard. Like even in the tournament I did this past weekend, I was down 5-0 in one of my matches and was probably in a position where I should have worked back up, got a sweep, try to get on top and score some points, and instead I just jump on an ankle lock and I finish the match. And I feel like that kind of stuff separates me from a lot of other people. My coach calls it dumb, but I it works for me. So
It's like Dustin jumping the gilly, bro. Hey, you gotta
yep,
take this, man. You
yep.
gotta,
And me and Dustin came up. So Dustin's coach coming up, Tim Crater, is owns the gym that I train at, and he likes to tell everyone else, like, just don't watch what Drake's doing. No one else do that. It works for him. I can't tell him anything because he hasn't gotten beat for it yet, but no one else try that shit.
what do you like? What goes into finding a style like that? How do you just one day be like, all right, bet this is how I'm fighting? Do you just naturally it comes to you like that, or like what
Well,
went into that part of it?
so the really like leg lock heavy inverted guard sport jiu-jitsu side of it I got because of the guy that I trained with a lot when I was younger, Chance Bro. He really like took me under his wing whenever I fell in love with jiu-jitsu and taught me everything he knows, and that's how he grapples. We studied a lot of guys like Gary Tonin, um, a lot of Marcelo Garcia, so a lot of butterfly guard game, stuff like that. Those styles of jiu-jitsu was just kind of becoming popular whenever I started jiu-jitsu, and now it's shifted more towards like back towards the guard passing game and stuff like that. But I kind of adopted that style early on and have continued to use it in competition at a pretty high level.
I want to ask you this question too, talking about training, and especially you got the background in nutritional and strength, being a strength coach. Do you think that that helps you in your training and in your camp and in preparing a routine? And then also by that same token, like I always talk about this with any sport, like being a coach or just being an athlete, it's all about charging a battery. I mean, you want to practice and train and get better, obviously, but by game day, you want to be 100%. You don't want to wear
Yep.
yourself down where you're fighting 80%, 90%. How do you manage that? And feel like that's such a unique sport to be able to balance it in too. I mean, it's combat. Like you're not shooting ball through a hoop, dog. You're punching people in the face. So, what's the balance in that? And do you think your background's kind of helping you smooth it over?
So, um, the way I like to think of training is like everyone works hard in the gym. It's really fun to go crack pads and spar hard and wrestle hard. Those things are fun. So whenever I coach athletes, I make them work hard in the areas that other people aren't willing to work hard. It is not fun to eat the same thing every day because that's what's on your nutrition plan. It's not fun to visualize and do the mental work of what the practice is going to look like and what you need to improve on and how you're going to get better at things. It's not that fun to study film on people all the time. It's not fun to get into a cold plunge and then get into a hot tub and then get into a cold plunge again. The things that aren't that fun are the areas that I focus on working harder than everyone else is willing to. And I feel like that's what makes the gap, because everyone's training hard. You have a coach yelling at you the whole time. You don't have a choice but to hit the pad hard. But you have a choice then to do all these other things when no one's watching. And that's the stuff that makes a difference between a good fighter and a high level competitor.
It's all the little things. So you think that's like one of the most underrated element of the camp is just how willing you are to really immerse yourself in that lifestyle. You gotta let it consume you.
Absolutely. And I see it in athletes that I coach. I work at Ignite Fitness where I work with athletes all the time. I do online coaching for fighters, so I like write their nutrition plans, their workout plans, and I give them the blueprint of like, hey, I'm not your striking wrestling coach, but as far as like recovery, strength conditioning, this is what camp's going to look like. You see the guys that are willing to put in the work, and you see the results that comes with guys that are willing to invest that time and effort into themselves.
So what do you think? I just kind of want to get your take on coaching and like the overall like inspiration behind that side of it too. What do you get out of that? What is it? Just watching somebody, unlock their potential? Is it helping someone achieve their goals? Like what's the motivating aspect for that side too?
So that's kind of goes one of my like core values in life is that like I like adding values to other people's lives. So whether that's like being a competitor and being someone that can inspire people based on what I do, or being a coach and being able to not take away, like I don't like to think of coaching as like taking things away, like taking away the food that you want to eat, or taking away, like I don't like to think about taking away from people's life. I want to add value into someone's life, whether that's improving their quality of their sleep, improving their mental health, improving their physical health. Like I want to do things that is going to make your life better. So that's what I try to do for pretty much everyone that I meet, and coaching is one of my ways that I get to present that to the world.
Let's talk about the training. You were talking about Coach Curry. You were talking about being in that environment. You got any stories of just being around those type of people? And what's that like pushing yourself to this limit now where I feel like there's not many rungs left to climb? I mean, bro, if you're in Dustin Poirier's gym, that's one of the best strikers I've ever watched in the UFC. Like I'm sitting here eating and chomping at the bit to watch one of his fights. So like being next to people of that regard, I feel like you're already in the right spot already. But just talk to me about that and what it's like to just get the rub, so to speak.
Yeah, we have a good environment at the gym. Like we have good coaches in place. The coach that I work with the most is actually like not as well known. His name's DeAndre Plumbar. He's trained under Tim Crater since he was like I think 3 or 4 years old. We fought each other in a kickboxing fight whenever I was 15 and he was 17. I think he was 18 or 19 at the time, and he beat my ass. It was not competitive at all. And now he's like one of my best friends in the world, and he does the majority of my game planning for fight camps and all of that stuff. He's a big credit to how good I've gotten since I've moved to Lafayette. But it's just a competitive environment too. Like I'm around a bunch of people that have the same goals and aspirations as me, as opposed to being at a gym where you're training with a bunch of people that are just doing jiu-jitsu to have fun. I'm training with a bunch of people who want to be the best in the world, and we get to build each other and help each other grow. And sometimes you get to put it on you because they have guys that are really good. Like everyone's really good. Like I've sparred with Dustin and had my liver snatched out of my body, and went home thinking, how in the world am I ever gonna get to where I'm that good? Like the gap is insane. So how am I ever gonna bridge that gap? But then you keep showing up, and the rounds get better, and you get more competitive, and you keep growing.
Just the fact that you have the opportunity to do something like that, exactly like I said, bro, there ain't many rungs left to get. Like you're out here sparring with world champions, dog. Like that's insane. So, what you get nervous before you in a situation like that? Or are you like, man, this is it? Like, I gotta soak this up. What's that mindset like? Because I ain't gonna lie, I'll be fully transparent. If the diamond is across the octagon for me, I'm shitting bricks, dude. Like, that's a different level. That's wild.
um, like at first it was definitely like, oh my god, I'm getting this far with this person. So AJ Fletcher was the first guy that was like in the UFC that I really got to spar with a lot. And AJ used to beat the crap out of me, man. Like, I getting ready for my first MMA fight. I remember I had the worst training session of my life, like 3 weeks out from the fight, where it was like I was up against the wall, completely exhausted on my hands and knees, and AJ Fletcher was soccer kicking me in the ribs repeatedly. I don't remember the question. I just had a flashback to a very, very dark time.
Like seeing the diamond and seeing people like that, like just how do you control that? Like what?
Yeah. So at first it was like there's definitely some anxiety involved because it's like I'm going into that round knowing that he can. There's nothing I can do to stop whatever this man's about to try to do to me. So definitely some anxiety involved at first, but I've managed that a lot better now. I've also gotten a lot better, so like those rounds aren't as hard as they used to be on me. Like I'm more competitive than I used to be. I've gotten to spar with world champions in other gyms. Like when I went to Vegas with Carly, I got to spar with some world champions out there, and I'm definitely getting I'm not getting the better of these exchanges, but it doesn't feel like an unattainable level anymore. Like it's like I'm getting to see these guys and feel what it's like, and I know that it's just the process of doing the work to attain that skill level. It's not so far out of reach that I'm never going to get there. I know I'm going to be there.
Doing the right things, bro. Talk to me about that experience with Carly in Vegas and just getting to, like you said, train, be in the octagon, walk out. Like, tell me that through your eyes, because I mean, bro, that's a dream come true for a lot of people. I know that was like a crazy moment where you're like, here we go, I'm making it.
Yeah, that week was one of the greatest. Like I loved being in Vegas. I loved seeing everything. So it was like one of the greatest weeks of my life. But at the same time, I was brought there to be the person that Carly beat up all week. So it was absolutely awful on that front. She won that fight by head kick. I probably ate that head kick 100 times that week because we knew that was the opening. We knew that was the opening. We set it up with the body shots, and then when the hands got drawn in, threw it over the top. So I gave her that read all week and just took head kick after head kick, and it was terrible.
Dude, that's the beautiful side to this though. Like a lot of people don't understand that part of mixed martial arts, bro. Like they think you just get in there and it's just you're slugging. Like no, this is a science. Joe Tessitore always says this when he's commentating. He says it's not raw savagery, it's sweet science. Like bro, exactly. Because what you're saying, you gotta not only visualize the opportunity, but you got to be able to recognize it, and you got to take what they give you. Like a basketball game, bro. Like if the defender clamps up on you, you're gonna have to move the ball. If they back up, sag off, take the shot. It's like you're reading all the time, and not a lot of people really get that. I found that to be interesting. What was it like out there in the arena whenever the fight was taking place?
So it was because it was the Apex. It was a lot smaller than what I thought it would be because like the UFC Apex only holds like 100 people. It's their personal venue. Like they're not having to go out and rent a venue and do all of the production. Like it's all on site. So it's a lot easier for the UFC to put it on events, but it doesn't feel nearly as big. It went a lot faster than I thought it would. Like we were in the back warming up and like out of nowhere they were like, okay, we got to walk now. And like, then they were like, actually, so they messed up the timing for it. So they were like, actually, can y'all run? We need to run. And so like we like had to sprint out to the cage.
Oh shit!
Carly gets in the cage, and the girl she was fighting was undefeated. Came off of a big knockout on Contender Series, so I think they were trying to like hype this girl up, and we had to sprint out to the cage just for this girl to take like 10 minutes to do her walkout. Like she was like main eventing a boxing card or something. Like she like stopped like 10 times, is like pointing to like it was insane. Carly actually told us in the corner, she's like, while the girl was in the middle of her walkout, Carly looks at us and she goes, she's putting on a show. I'm about to put on a show.
There you go.
And then went out there and just starched her. And being cage side for that was amazing. I was the jiu-jitsu coach, so I didn't have to talk much. I just got to sit back and enjoy.
Sit back and soak it all in.
Yeah.
Bro, that's one of my dreams. I want to be able to be ringside. I've never even seen it live. Like I've watched UFC since a little dude, like Chuck Liddell, the Iceman. I've seen it all. Yep. Tito Ortiz. I watched John Jones be a young lad and come through the ranks and then leave and then come back and then all this stuff. But like I've never been live. I'm hoping it's brewing here soon that we can tap in on. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. All right, Drake. So I want to look at some videos with you. We got some highlights. We were talking and building up all your profile and just letting everybody know that you're kicking ass. But we got to show them how you kicking ass. And I want you to break it down for me and just walk me through each of these clips. So this first clip, this was the one that you were talking about, the viral moment at the grappling tournament where you'd say Coach Crater would call this crazy, but hey, man, sometimes it works, and it worked in this situation. So first off, how the hell do you recognize an opportunity like this, bro? Like I feel like you were saying
that was kind of set up for. We grappled for about a minute before this happened, and I was kind of setting up this read the whole time. If you see, like at the beginning of it, my left hand kind of comes up towards his head. I was collar tying him really hard on that left side and posting on him with that left hand constantly. So I conditioned him to seeing my left hand and thinking we're going to tie up. So he plants his feet and gets ready to tie up every time my left hand comes towards him. So whenever I'd flash the left hand in front of him, he sets his weight for a second. And when he set his weight, that was my opportunity to spin.
That's smart as shit. And that's the part I'm telling you about, like that, or just talking about in general. It's like you're sitting here walking them through it, like trying not necessarily to telegraph it, but just like, all right, bro, here, it's in your face, it's in your face, it's in your face. Man, I think John Jones did that to Stipe whenever he like kind of faked the strike in with the little spinning heel kick into the gut and dropped him. And Marcio Rufy just did that in his last fight too. Like those fates, dangerous. It sets you up for real. And
so I was in MMA, it would be like my jab, but because there's no strikes in the grappling tournament, I was using my collar tie and like a stiff arm where I would take my left hand and I just like kind of poke him in the chest with it. And I just got him used to having to plant his feet in that position by keeping that post on him the whole time.
That's smart as hell. And then you did it again here in this situation, and you were in a little bit of trouble. Stay calm, cool, collected. And like you were saying, you see an opportunity, take the opportunity, and boom, you out of there. It's a short night.
Yep. Like so this one, I knew that this guy was going to blitz me. He blitzed everyone he fought. He's a tall striker. He's like, I think he's like 5'11", 6 foot tall, and he's a boxer, but he doesn't use his length all the time. Like he likes to get into big exchanges and kind of trade with guys. So I was expecting the crash in. I wasn't expecting as early as he brought it. So I threw the leg kick, and I was kind of off balance for a second off of the leg kick. But I knew whenever he crashed in, there was going to be a moment where I could get to his hips. And that's whenever I got to the legs. At most of camp, I was planning on getting to his hips and using it to double leg him, get him to the floor, get him to turn his back and choke him. That was the plan the whole camp. I got in the cage, and I saw a brace on his ankle. And I looked at it and I said, that's coming with me.
It's like last minute instincts, bro. And you see a moment, take a moment. Man, that's crazy. I had to take a trophy with you home, dog. Let's look at another one. This one, I feel like, could be wrong, but did you instantly get in to top mount after the takedown? And talk to me about this and the positioning of when you take down. Why are you getting in certain positions? Is it helping you advance towards a submission? Walk the fans through that here. Walk them through this calculation.
Yeah, so I hit that little outside trip, and I tried to swing my leg into like a side. It's a position called side smash. It's like one of my favorite guard passing positions for pinning someone's hips. But he did a really good job of getting to his hip right away and peeling my foot back into a half guard. So as you see, like he scooted his butt away and then instantly made space to where he could get his legs involved on my right leg. So I kind of had to change plans because I was going to side smash and then get to the mount and then cook him from the mount, but he did a really good job adjusting. But when he threw that underhook, he let it go a little too high. Like if you go underhook in half guard, it's like one of those positions where you have to use it immediately because if you hang out there, you're putting yourself in Dar's choke. So he kind of hung out on that underhook a little bit too long, and that's whenever I was able to slip in the choke. I went to my back because I felt like I had it, and like in hindsight, I probably should have focused on staying on top. It worked out for me, but it could have not, and he could have ended up on top there. I just knew I knew I had a tight bite on it, so I went to my back and I was okay with it in the moment. But in hindsight, I probably should have done a better job of maintaining the top position instead of selling out for the submission. That's one of those things that Tim talks about all the time about me jumping on submissions.
It's good that you're able to recognize that, though. You're learning. Well, it's been a pleasure, though, dog. Appreciate your time. You got anything else you want to say? Plug your socials and just let everybody know where to find you and, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I mostly use Instagram. I'm Drake P MMA on Instagram. I have a coaching account that I use too, but my athlete page is Drake P MMA.
All right, and I saw you had a graphic for like a class. Was it this Saturday?
No, it's not this Saturday. It's May 21st. I'm gonna be doing a seminar. I'm in the process of starting a super fight promotion for jiu-jitsu in Louisiana. So this seminar is going to be our first fundraiser for our first event, and our goal is to be off the ground and launch our first event by the end of this year.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna put that flyer up right here on the screen so everybody can tap in on that. But like I said, Drake, appreciate your time, dog. We'll be back on here soon. I'm gonna get you in. If it's before your fight, after your fight, whatever you want to do, man. But we need to start doing this more often. Even if we talk about UFC fights or giving our picks, reacting to the card, man. We need to start getting that MMA coverage in.
Yes, sir. We've been talking about this for a long time. We finally made it happen, bro. This is fun.
I know, man. Long time coming. But once again, appreciate you, dog. Go give him a follow. All the links will be in the description. Appreciate your time, dog.
Thank you.